Well, ladies and gentlemen, here we have our first Q&A. We hope to do these on a weekly basis. I think you'll find them very, very interesting. We quite like Q&As, as one question leads on to another. It's an awful lot easier than standing just in front of a camera, just telling you about things which you may not be interested in. So at least the questions you've asked mean that you're interested in that particular subject. So without further ado, we'll start. And one for you, Paul, from Phil Aspinall. How did Bangers and Cash begin?
Bangers and Cash began by a chap called Andy coming down, the producer of the show, wanting to do something with classic cars. He really wanted to get involved with the classic car movement more than anything. I think I'm right in saying, aren't I? And he came down and we said, no, thanks very much, off you go. Our father did. And then he persisted and came back several times. And then, we agreed for a cameraman to come for a fortnight. Was it a fortnight?
A month, actually.
Was it a month?
I think, yeah.
To which, to be truthful, they never left. So that's how it started, really.
I don't think he quite knew what he wanted, did he? And
no.
We didn't quite know what to expect.
No.
Well, you're better. You dealt with Andy a bit more in them initial.
Yeah, I suppose so. We sort of. Well, each time we tell this story, it goes up a bit. You know, first of all, we turned it down, and then we turned it down 3 times. Now we've turned it down 5 times. We have a laugh and a joke about it, but the fact of the matter is we turned it down because we were thinking that it was going to be a little bit like Heartbeat or Brideshead Revisited and all them sort of programs that we've done, Catherine Cookson and Staged, if you like, hanging around for hour after hour after hour, waiting for your call and all that sort of thing, which we couldn't do. We couldn't face that. We didn't have time, so we really said, look, you know, if you want to follow us and get what you can and miss what you miss, but you have to keep up with us and go on from there. And they agreed, so we all started running at the same time, really, and they have done quite well keeping up with us, but they still, to this day, miss an awful lot of very, very good connections and meetings and things, but they can't be everywhere.
No.
So that's how it all started, and as Paul quite rightly said, we gave it a month, and we thought, well, I thought anyway, I don't know what you two thought, but I thought at the end of that month, the obvious thing to do is sit down and have a little chat about it, but it went so normal and so natural, and we were so busy anyway, there didn't seem to be an awful lot of point in talking about it, so we just let it carry on, and it rolled on. And the strange thing is that I find really strange, and everyone I talk to about it says the same. You know, they say, did you not sort out about money and you know what you're going to get? And I said, no, we didn't even mention it. You know, it was not something
vulgar.
that we were vulgar. Yes, a vulgar situation is talking about money, and we just thought. Well, I thought, and I'm sure the lads will agree, that we just thought we're going to get something like £100,000 worth of advertising for nothing. So we just let it roll, and that was it.
So there you go. That's how it started.
And the rest is history, as they say.
Shall I do one for us? We've got Mick here. Mick's saying, question for Derek, what got you into the car business? That's a good one. Mick, what got you into the car business?
The difference between 12 quid a week and 75 quid a week. That's what got me into it. It's as simple as that. There's no other way of putting it, really. I mean, I love dealing with cars or working with cars. I was a butcher, which I'd have been probably happy at staying for the rest of my life. And it seems that I've noticed over the years that butchers, I don't know why, but butchers seem to be quite keen on the motor trade or cars. Certainly the motor trade is not keen on butchery, so it don't work the other way around, but it's a bit like film stars want to be footballers and footballers want to be film stars. Well, every butcher I've ever known has always had a great interest in cars, me included. And when you're working 60, 70 hours a week or whatever it might be for 12 quid, and then you find yourself working maybe 40 or 50 hours, a little bit less, for 75 quid, and enjoying what you're doing, it's a no-brainer, really. So I started from home, just very, very small like that, 1 car at a time, sell that car, go out and buy another one, sell that car, and it went on like that. And I thought I'd swum the channel when I'd got a stock of 3 cars, which a wagon then came along and wrote the lot off, so that put me back to square one again, and so on and so on. But there you go. I've persisted, and here we are today.
And Andy Colvin, he wants to ask you, what's your favourite car from the 70s?
With me?
Yeah.
From the 70s?
From the 70s.
Well, I've been a Jag man all my life, really. I mean, nothing in the world, including Rolls Royce, everything, the whole lot, Bentleys, all the lot, nothing drives as well as a good XJ6. So it was always XJ6. And I was very lucky in the 70s and 80s to be able to go to London 2, 3, 4 times a week in an XJ6, and it was just absolutely gorgeous. Especially coming home overnight was lovely. XJ6, early XJ, Series 1s and 2s.
There you go. Thank you.
Yeah, I have, yeah. I got one here from Mark Bradshaw. Is there a car that has gone through the auction and you regret not putting a bid in on?
How long have we got?
Yeah.
Are you going to wrap this up today? Yeah.
Well, dear me, that's a difficult question. Go on then, what?
Oh, gosh.
There's going to be one every auction, isn't there? That's the trouble.
Yeah, arguably there are. Arguably there is probably 2, 3 every auction. Yeah, every auction you think, pre-auction you think, oh, shall I, shan't I? And then post-auction you think, should have, could have.
Would have.
The most obvious one in recent times, only because it is recent times, has been that little Clio V6. I know I have a Clio V6, but I love those little V6 Clios, the one we did a guess the hammer price on. And I just thought that was such good value for money, that little Clio. So in more recent times, probably that little Clio, but yeah, I mean, there's so many you can't recall them, isn't there?
I know, yeah. I think it'd probably be a Bentley for me, wouldn't it? I got a bit of a soft spot for them Continentals, haven't I, for some reason. So I think it'd be one of them again. But like we said, there's a couple of cars every auction that you think, yeah.
We soon have a building full of our own. Well, we've got enough as it is, but we could soon fill an extra building, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Well, it could be your lucky week this week, because I've got to pick up a Continental later in the week.
Have you, by Jove?
Yeah, be falling in love again, wouldn't you?
All over again.
With me, it's not the car that I miss buying, it's the car that I sold and regret selling. And I've done that this morning. I sold a vehicle this morning that should never have been sold. It would have grown into tremendous money eventually, but needs must sometimes, and these things have to be done. So I regret selling a good number of vehicles, and that all started many, many years ago with a Reliant Scimitar that I had to sell because I had to make money each week. I was determined never to fall behind. I never worked on a month. I always worked on a weekly basis. I couldn't work on a month thinking that if you don't sell anything this week and you don't sell anything next week, then a week after you might sell 2 and make it up, but you might not sell 2 and make it up. So I worked on a weekly basis, and at the end of each week I had to make my expenses up, my living money, my rent and all the rest of it. And if something didn't sell retail during that week, then I traded it and got the money back in and used again. Or if I was lucky enough, a retail man might come along, and a retail man came along one Saturday afternoon and bought me beloved Reliant Scimitar that I just adored, and I thought to myself, one day I'll get to the stage where I haven't got to do that. I ain't got there yet, like, but
He's still getting there. Stephen Lewis, he would like to know, what cars do you all drive day to day? Well, that's going to be pretty boring for you and me, to be honest. I drive me Navara truck.
Yeah, transit van.
Yeah.
Audi. I have a latest Defender, which is nice, so I'm lucky in that way. But I spent years and years driving a Berlingo van. That was my everyday thing. I had one Berlingo van after another. So, yeah, when you're messing with all these lovely cars all day, you get your fix. You get your little fix.
You get your fix at work, really.
Yeah, so you get your fix. So
Very lucky.
You just go home, and I go home in something I can chuck the dogs in.
That's it.
And you're more guilty than any of us of driving something extremely boring when you could drive something extremely exciting.
I know, yeah. I went out last night for a pint and I took out a Classic because the weather was so nice, and I thought if I don't get a bit of an opportunity like this to go out and drive something nice just for an hour, then and almost another week goes by before you know.
It does, yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, I'm lucky enough fairly recently, up until recently, to drive a little Morris Minor pickup, which was great. And Air TV have now just given me a Morris Minor van. I can't elaborate why or what it is, because it will spoil the story coming through, but to actually use as much as possible. So I have used that a little bit, but earlier.
Run around as a transporter normally.
And yeah, I do. I like. Yeah, I do. I run around in a
lorry,
little, one of the wagons and that.
Transport, as in like
No.
car transport.
Yeah. Yeah, I do an awful lot. Yeah, I generally sort of go out later in the day, always have done, and get back a little bit late. So the next day I'm generally in a lorry anyway. So yeah, I'm quite happy in a little wagon. Yeah.
I've got One for pub.
Well, just on that, hold that one for next week, because I think we're there for this week, guys. Thank you very much.
Right,
But keep your eyes peeled.
Tara, you'll be on next week.
There you go. Yeah, stand by.
Together with Mark Bradshaw and Jan Sellers.
Oh,
We've got Simon and we've got Keith and we've got Brian.
we've got loads of you. Loads of you.
Next week.
Yeah,
Oh God,
yeah.
we've got
So
loads here. Yeah.
keep an
Yeah.
eye out. Thank you. See you next week.
See you next week, guys.
Yeah.
Ta-da.
Bye bye.